All right, we're gonna call the February 20th meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Here. Mr. Vacula?
Here.
Mr. Carr? Here. Mr. Miller? Here. Mrs. Keeper?
Here, this time we'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, is there any board members who desire to add, delete, or separate any items of the consent agenda as proposed? No? All right, I just need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting on February 20th, 2024.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacula?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion to approve the minutes of the organizational meeting and regular board meeting held on January 8th, 2024.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacula?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, is there any board members with correspondence? No, I'd just like to say I went to the Beyond today, or the college readiness night. Very well done. Lots of great information for those incoming freshmen and the kids that might be looking for a different path. It was a nice night. So just wanted to share that with, I know Brady's not here, but it was well done. And Dolores. So.
And the trades part, I mean, there was
That's awesome.
quite a bit of trades here for it, too. That was pretty good.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Smolla.
No, we do have some guests. I'd like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. Dr. Harold, Mrs. Conrad.
Jenny Conrad. Alexa Bell.
Tony Noble? Bruce Burkholder?
Dr. Dolores Farnfield. Carrie Brown.
Brandon,
Tom.
Dave Skoden.
Kendra Griffin, Caitlin Fun, Sam Miller, Skylar Gomez, Ellen Reyes, Isabel Lynn.
Thank you, everyone. Seeing that no one has registered to address the board, we will continue on with Mr. Carroll's review of the financial items on the agenda.
Thank you. We have a stack of reports in front of you. The first one is our cash reconciliation. This shows how we are balanced with the banks. Second report shows how we are appropriated currently with the Fulton County Auditor. Next report is our cash summary. This shows our expenditures per fund and also our fund balance. Next report shows all of the disbursements that we had for the month of January. First graph you see is the general fund, comparing our revenue and expenses to this month last year, and then also year to date compared to last fiscal year. At the end of January, we are 58% of the way through the fiscal year. And that puts us pretty much right on track for our cash balance as where we were last year. So everything looks a bit good there compared to the forecast. We have our general fund payroll and benefits broken out. Right now, we are 58% of the way through our payroll budget and 62% of the way through our benefits budget. And in January, we did collect our third income tax collection. So we have collected 95% of the revenue this year that we did last year. So we have collected 95% of what we did last year. So we're down a little bit, but pretty much on track to where we were, just slightly. Also on the agenda, we received a couple of reallocations for our federal grants. So a lot of those increases that you see are for our federal grants. We do need to transfer $77 from food service back to 018. This was an overpayment from last year or from last month. We had an individual call in wanting to clear out some negative balances for lunch accounts. When that payment came in, it was a little over the amount at that time. So we just need to bring those funds back. Class of 2023, we have finally received our final invoice, so we can clear that account out. That'll get transferred to the new senior class. And then just some increases of budgets for some 018 accounts. We have two new grants sources of strengths and a new Attorney General Technology Linking Safety Grant that Dr. Swineford has helped us obtain. That is all I have for financials.
Any questions for Mr. Carroll? All right, then we'll jump into the agenda. We'll start with the financials. It is recommended by Brian Carroll, treasurer, to approve the following financial items. The reports that we just reviewed with Mr. Carroll. We'll also need to accept the following donations. $100 anonymous donation to Student Assistance Fund. $50 from Randall and Ray Lynn Schmidt to the Student Assistance Fund. $300 from Knights of Columbus to the Student Assistance Fund. $500 from Pro Ag application to FFA. $100 from Country Charm Cafe to FFA. $1,000 from Fulton County Dairy Producers to FFA. $500 from Chris Johnson to FFA. $250 from Biggs Bar and Grill to FFA. $50 from Lucky Farmers to FFA. And $750 from Scott and Jenny Conrad to FFA. We also need to approve the following appropriations and modifications and to amend resources accordingly. Those are those increases that we got to the grants that Mr. Carroll explained, as well as those 2 transfers. We also need to approve the following grants: Source of Strength for $5,000, Ohio Attorney General Technology Linking Safety Grant for $30,000, and accept the tax rates, the amounts and rates determined by the Budget Commission, and authorize the necessary tax levies and certify them for the Fulton County Auditor. At this time, we just need to, motion to approve the financial reports and other financial items.
Move. Support.
Any questions or discussion? No? Roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacuoli?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Deep?
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll move on to personnel. We need to offer the following supplemental contracts for the 23-24 school year, pending the completion of all people activity permit requirements. Dustin Hudick, JV baseball coach. Ken Hudick, assistant softball coach, a 3rd contract. Skyly Raker, assistant softball coach, 2 3rd contract. Emma Stump, assistant softball coach, the other 2 3rd contract. Should be 3 3rd contracts. To offer the following supplemental contracts for the 24-25 school year, pending the completion of all people activity permit requirements. Kelsey Wolf, head varsity volleyball coach. Dave Scozen II, head varsity boys soccer coach. Matt Gleckler, head girls golf coach. Jacob Ott, head varsity girls soccer coach. We need to also approve the request for FMLA leave for Emily Leffler, tentatively beginning on March 18th, 2024, and ending May 31st, 2024. We need to approve a $250 stipend to the following staff members for completing Sources of Strength training. Payment will be made using Sources of Strength Grant Fund. Amanda Brame, Sharon Lipinski, and Lindsay Scouring. We need to offer the following: a 1-year limited non-teaching, non-bargaining unit contract commencing tentatively March 11th, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2024, for Ashley McGillivray Ferner for the assistant treasurer. At this time, I just need a motion to approve the above listed personnel positions.
So move. Support.
Questions or discussion? No. Roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacuoli?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Deep?
Yes, motion carried. This time we'll move on to other business. We need a motion to approve a revised agreement with Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center to cooperatively participate in special education services for fiscal year 23-24 at an estimated cost of $1,001,404.44. The board and Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center agree that $926,404.44 of this amount shall be paid pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3313.845, where applicable law, by having this amount deducted from the board state foundation payment, the remaining balance being invoiced and paid directly to the Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center.
So move.
Support.
Thank you. Questions or discussion?
Since this is such a large sum, can you just give a brief synopsis of what they do for us, since we're gonna give them $1 million?
This is all of the personnel that we contract through them for special ed services, from speech therapy, occupational therapy, classroom aides, gifted, everything across the board.
Okay.
We need that are not our employees, but we contract with them to provide those services because they can change from year to year.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacula?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Abstain.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion for the Evergreen Local Board of Education to approve the appointment of Mr. Michael Fisher to the Evergreen Local Library Board of Trustees for a 7-year term, beginning January 1st, 2024, ending December 31st, 2030.
So. Support.
Any questions or concerns? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vacula?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, Mr. Small, would you like to take over discussion and information?
Yeah, regarding the fifth grade transition, we continue to plan for the fifth grade move to the middle school. Mr. Burkholder is meeting regularly with staff to ensure a smooth transition for next year. New furniture is being ordered and an orientation for fifth and sixth grade is being planned to get them acclimated coming in. A letter was sent out to parents last week to provide additional information and welcome questions. We are confident we will be ready to go for next school year. Planning keeps going. I thank Mr. Burkholder and the teachers for all the work they're doing to set it up so that it is that smooth transition for those kids. And we think that orientation will be critical to bringing them in, getting them comfortable.
Will that be this year before the end of the year, or will it be next year?
We'll do orientation at the very beginning of the school year.
Okay,
And traditionally, fifth grade came over at the end of the year to walk around. We'll probably still do that, but a full orientation day will be to start next school year.
so would you bring the fifth and fourth over? Okay.
Yep, so probably two separate events this year.
Any other questions for Mr. Burkholder and Mr. Small?
Then our academic programs and facility survey has been sent out to students, parents, staff, and community members. The survey is open to February 29th, and then we'll share the results when the survey is completed. So haven't had a lot of community feedback. They have to just go to our website and click on the survey. Everyone else received it directly through email, and we're getting good feedback from them. So that will help us look at the direction we need to go with our strategic plan and any potential changes we would need to make to accommodate the needs of our students and families. Any questions on that? That's still, it's still open to the end of the week.
Nothing for Mr. Small? All right, we'll continue on with Mrs. Brown.
Good evening, everyone. First off, wanted to congratulate Silas Keller for winning the Fulton County Spelling Bee for our fifth grade. He did a great job representing Evergreen as he took home first place. Also want to shout out to Noah Proudfoot for qualifying to go to the Fulton County Spelling Bee to represent our fourth grade class. Our father-daughter dance is coming up on March 1st. It was postponed due to weather, and we're finally hoping that we can make that happen on March 1st for our dads and daughters. On February 9th, we had a Sources of Strength assembly where all of our students received shirts. Each grade level has a different color shirt. They talk about different sources of strength for their grade level, and we'll be using those shirts throughout the year for different activities that we have planned. DARE with Deputy Kathy will begin very soon for our second grade students, so we're excited to have her get involved with our second grade. She did a great job with our kids next year. Also met with EYA to get things squared away and create a smooth transition for how things are going to move forward for next school year. Jessica Smith and Jenna Boback have been great to work with as far as getting things together and the communication between us. So it's been we've had really good planning sessions together, which has been nice. We're continuing to work through the parent pickup process. We did do a run this morning, a trial run. We're still working on steps to move forward, and I'll be talking more with Mr. Small regarding that. We had a STEAM night on January 30th where we had 150 people attend. Our teachers and volunteers put together a really great evening, and actually our families said, oh, we have to go now. We only did it for an hour this year. Last year we had, I believe it was an hour and a half or 2 hours. Kind of lasted longer than what we thought, so we scaled it back. It ended up being even better this year, so I think they were kind of disappointed that it ended so soon. Last Saturday, we also had a Super Bowl Saturday night where we had 260 dads and sons participate, a lot of fun sports activities, lots of snacks, and we had a team of teachers that helped put that together, sponsored by MVP. So it was a very fun night. Also, our teachers have been looking at student data, and have created new intervention groups, to begin working on student needs, with where all of them have placed as far as their data. So working on new groups, to get things moving forward for them. I think that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, all right, thank you. Sure.
Mr. Burkholder.
Good evening. First one, recognize the People's Champ for the month in our building, which is Martin Nichols. He's a first-year teacher for us. He's done a great job jumping right into our culture in the building and even taking on some leadership roles right away, which has been great. We had in January, Egg Safety Days. It was a new program that Ms. Howell came to me and asked if she would be interested in participating. The 6th, 7th, 8th grade all had different Egg Safety Days, which due to weather, we got to kind of reschedule a number of times and get it figured out. But they were basically 5 stations in which the kids got educated on home safety and farm safety and the types of things that, you know, you'd want almost any person to know as far as lawnmower safety, to animal safety, and fire extinguisher, stuff like that. So it was led by the high school kids, and they did a really good job on doing that. In January, we started 2 programs in our building for the 2nd semester. We have Rocks going on Mondays now, and we also have our Boss program. We're doing a little bit differently this year. They have a new leader, Levi Moore from the Fulton County Health Department. So far, those programs are off and running. On January 16th, we had a Fort County representative come out and speak to our 8th graders. Basically gave a short presentation, allowing them to select 3 programs that they're gonna go eventually and see. We were supposed to go there already, same thing, weather postponed. Our event, it's February 27th is the new date that we'll actually get to go out and see the facilities and actually see different programs. Each kid gets to see 3 different programs there while they're visiting for the day. The Amazing Shape program continues to go for the year. We had to another thing rescheduled, but successfully got in our January 26th lowering up practice, which is a pretty cool activity in which we had parent volunteers and high school students come down along with participation of the teachers, and they judged the students on their persuasive techniques of having cell phones in the building. As you can imagine, there's some pretty spirited takes on those from the kids, but overall a pretty good event. The parents who were there gave some very positive feedback on the kids' efforts. We've also had DARE go on in our building this year already. We had our 6th grade DARE graduation on January 24th. A special thank you to Sheriff Roy Miller, Deputy Darren Ward, and his dog Danny, and also special guest Brittany Long. They all spoke to our kids on that day. And then thank you to Deputy Kathy Zumfeldi and Jenny Burkle, the ones that kind of organized the event for us. So that's a good event for our kids to have every year. Last week on the 12th through the 15th, we had our conferences down in the middle school, and we did them a little different. We kind of matched what we did last year with just some slight modifications, but we did teleconferences for the week with in-person conferences on Thursday. We offered both in our building. We found that they weren't well attended, the 2nd semester conferences, just having them in person, so we tried to offer both. And we actually had about double the conferences this year that we had from the previous year. So a lot of parents or families like having the second option. So we'll probably continue those the following year. February 15th, last Thursday, we had our bowling night put on by MVP. We had about 60 students show up for the evening. Food, snacks, a lot of laughing. It was a good time. The kids seemed to enjoy that event, so I'm glad MVP put that on for us. And then we had three representatives go to the Fulton County Spelling Bee for our building. 7th grader Ellie Schmidlin participated. We had 8th grader Cameron Root, who took 2nd place for the 8th grade. And then we had 6th grader Carly Cook, who took 1st place for the 6th grade. And it's not on the minutes, but the last thing I threw in here last second, we had a speaker last week in Mr. Nichols' room. It's Austin Hill, which would be Dawn Hill, one of our paras, her son. He did some Zoom presentations with us. He works for ULA, which is the United Launch Alliance in Alabama, and they build rockets for NASA. And he's a welding engineer down there, and he did a presentation for our kids. And then on top of that, they got to ask questions and go back for it. That was a really cool experience. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. So. Any questions?
Thank you.
I have 2 items to share from Mr. Roofer, who couldn't be here tonight. You had already mentioned, on February 7th, the high school held the Beyond Today event. The event included our high school orientation, CCP meeting, AP and honors course meeting. During the event, there were many unions, trades, companies, universities, and military branches present. This served as an opportunity for parents and students to learn more about opportunities after high school. If students that are interested in CCP missed that event on February 28th at 4 p.m. in the High School Media Center, there will be a CCP makeup meeting for students and parents who are unable to attend. On February 15th, Ms. Howell attended FFA State and American Degree Evaluations in Columbus. This year, we had 9 students apply for a state degree, which is an increase from previous years. Over the years, we have only had 18 students earn a state degree, and we had 9 apply today, and we're expecting 8 or 9 of them to receive that. So again, growing that program. Congratulations to our Ag Communications team that placed 5th in the state competition this past weekend. Great job by them. And then finally, congratulations to Michael Wheeler on his performance on Saturday, February 3rd at the OMEA All-State Honor Choir in Columbus. Michael auditioned and qualified for this honor and did an amazing job representing Evergreen High School. Congratulations to Michael. Any questions?
I don't think so. Thank you, Mr. Small. Mr. Doble.
Good evening. Good afternoon. We're continuing work on the 911 inform system. Dan Spiegel was out last week from Secure Tech. The latest thing that we worked on was getting all of our external speakers and strobes that you see in the building or outside of the building. Those are now up and functioning. I ran a few tests last week for the audio and everything seems to be working great. So just another step closer to finalizing that project. And they were doing some testing today with Richie from the Fulton County Sheriff because there were a few snags with a 911 call that was dialed during a wrestling match a couple weeks ago. It never triggered our system, which it should have. So we got the kinks worked out on that as well. Update on School Messenger and Parent Square. In November, when I last presented, I told you guys that we were planning on not renewing that or not renewing School Messenger. So we are not going to. I did some exploring of alternatives and we came to the decision of moving to a platform called Parent Square. So I began working last week on getting the necessary data synced up to their servers from our Power School server. Admin training will be in a few weeks, hopefully, and then touching base with teachers this spring and coaches early summer. This will take the place of our delay and cancellation calls. This will take the place of any platform that our teachers are using to communicate with parents. We're trying to make it so that parents don't have to have 4 or 5 different apps to communicate with different teachers. I've seen this platform, it's really good. It kind of meets the needs of everybody. Elementary teachers are a little different than high school teachers. They want to be able to attach 100 photos and do all the, artsy stuff. And the high school teachers just want to send out a quick message and have it work. Another perk to this platform is it has a side called Student Square. So our students, at least 9 through 12 will have access to Student Square so that these messages are not just going to parents anymore. The kids need to know too. And so this will be a nice perk to that. We'll have some discussion moving forward, but I might make that 6 through 12, just depending on the need. Because a lot of our middle schoolers do have cell phones, so. Future projects that I talked about back in November, one was MDM, which is a mobile device management platform. John and I piloted 3 different platforms back in December, narrowed it down to 2, and then in the last couple of weeks here, we made our decision to go with a company called Mosul. Biggest decision for me is they offer a single sign-on option for our teachers to log into their MacBooks using their Google account, which is secure because their Google account has multi-factor authentication where you get the text message and all of that. So security is driving all of these decisions. Pretty excited about it. It works great. And we'll be pushing out our first batch of MacBooks with that platform here in the spring for our intervention specialists. So on that note, our new laptops for our intervention specialist, 28 MacBooks were ordered and shipped. And they have all arrived, and I am beginning to enroll those into that new software. I ordered our new Chromebooks for next school year. I received an email actually right before our meeting this evening, that those have been shipped, so, they are set to be here, Thursday. These are the Chromebooks that will be used for next school year, but we always like to get them ordered early because after COVID, we didn't wanna risk that, so. So those will be here and kind of just hanging out until the summer when I have time to actually get those ready to go. And then lastly, been working on some E-rate projects. If you're not familiar with E-rate, it is a FCC funded program that assists with our internet and hardware costs. And with our free and reduced numbers, we qualify for a 60% discount. So this program pays for 60% of our internet bill and 60% of any of the hardware needed to operate our internet or Wi-Fi. So with that, I decided to do a little digging as to where we were with some of our hardware in our tech offices. I was really never involved in that previously, so I had really no idea where we were at, and I found that we have some rather old equipment. So I put a form out, 470 for FCC, for E-rate to cover the cost of an updated switch, which we are gonna install at the elementary school. And then we are also gonna put in 4 new UPS units, which are like your battery backups. 2 at the elementary, 1 at the middle school, 1 at the high school, to keep all of our internet and our phones online if we have a power outage. So that will cost us a little bit of money, but 60% of it is covered by E-rate, which is nice, so. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Double. Mr. Samoa.
Couple additional things, we received some valuable feedback from our food service survey. Over 90% of students and parents rated the program as satisfactory or higher. Food quality and options were seen as strengths of the program. Cost and a need for even more options were some critiques that came through those surveys. So again, we meet with Variety, went over them and looking at what can we do even better with that company and providing food for our students. One concern that has been brought to my attention recently by multiple community members is the number of fundraisers that are taking place within the school district and with our related organizations. We're looking at a way to better coordinate, regulate these so they're not overwhelming to our students and families. I'm sure all of you are hit up regularly by students as I am, but how do we kind of get a handle on that so there's not so much competition between the different groups, either internally and with our support organizations? So that's something we are looking into and hopefully can come up with a plan for. Any questions?
Where are we at with food service this year, as far as financials?
So Variety is a little different on how they do their billing. It's twice a month, kind of some odd dates. So, I can put together a report if you want, kind of backdate through the end of January.
Sure, it doesn't have to be anything in depth. I'm just curious whether they're running in the red or running in the black or where we're at compared to historically.
Yeah, I can put something together.
Thank you.
On the food service, were the prices of lunches, I know we approved them, but are they recommended by Variety, or did we get those recommendations? I know before we've used the state recommendation, where did those numbers come from that came to us?
We set the numbers, they have to match what the board set.
Mhm.
For additional items, they set the price for extras.
Okay, so is that where people are talking is like the price of extra? Okay, so I thought we usually run off the state numbers for lunch itself, but okay.
Yeah, there's a formula we follow for increases, and the board approves that typically in June for the next school year.
So the
We're
actual,
following that for a base lunch.
okay. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Small? Okay. Are there any board members with questions or concerns? No? All right, at this time, I need a motion for the members of the Evergreen Local Board of Education, Superintendent, Treasurer, and invited guests to go into executive session for the following reasons. to consider the employment of public employees.
Roll call? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes. Motion carried. At this time, anybody who has paperwork, for government, you can get it to Mr. Simola. He'll get it taken care of for you guys, and everybody else is free to go.